Shall we start?
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to this afternoon section. So the first section, I'll be chairing. I'm Chuan Zhao from Singapore Institute of Technology. So in this section, actually, we have 3 industry speakers to share their expertise or experience in different areas. So our first speaker is Mr. William Leong. He is an expert in mushroom, and actually he is holding a different certificate like the mushroom or cultivation certificate, and also medicinal mushroom cultivation certificate. He's a founder or owner of a mushroom center in Thailand. Now, Mr. Leong will bring us to return to the same point. Mr. Leong, please.
Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and friends of the world. Do you know that we are all in trouble? The population is suffering. The planet is suffering. Food is actually abundance everywhere, but willfully wasted. Water is abundance everywhere, but is massively polluted. Air is also everywhere, but eventually we will be breathing carbonized air instead. I believe today's topic of the conference is zero waste and circular economy. And we call this back to the same point. My name is Leong. That is the nickname that they always address me in Thailand. And I'm the founder of Mushroom World. Thank you, organizer, for making my presence here possible. I would like to share a recent report from NEA on waste statistics and overall recycling. About 5.8 million tons of solid waste was actually generated last year. Do you know what is the biggest waste in Singapore? In fact, it's food waste. It's one of the biggest mainstream waste in our country right now. And the amount of waste generated has actually grown 20% over the last 10 years. In fact, in 2019, Singapore generated around 740 million kilo of food waste. And they put it that it's equivalent to 2 bowls of rice per person per day, or around 51,000 double-decker bus. So that kind of waste can fit in that capacity of 51,000 double-decker buses. And I would like to show you a video on what a symbiotic organism in nature looks like. And these are actually symbiotic fungi, wild edible mushroom. They happen to float around and landed onto our agriculture waste. And they are edible. And they are very hardy. And this is another type of mushroom. Which is a paddy mushroom growing naturally from our agricultural waste. And our first point, and what is the connection with us? Has a mushroom grower got to do with zero waste and circular economy? Allow me to show you a video on how we actually grow our mushroom using raw material here. And these are the raw material that we use before we prep our mushroom bag. And these are the mushrooms that will grow up from there, and we will harvest later. So in mushroom world, we adopted a fox approach. We grow food safely and securely. At the same time, we educate people to grow their own food using sustainable material. And we also educate you to repurpose your mushroom waste into sustainable product. And these are some of those mushrooms that is grown from local waste found in Singapore totally. And these are some of the training that we provide to teach them how to be sustainable in growing mushroom. And point 3 that we would like to highlight is to educate what we're going to do with our waste after we have finished harvesting the mushroom. Back to the same point, we actually use our fresh mushroom to produce burger patty. Over at our farm, in order to produce 30 to 60 tons of edible mushroom, mushroom world uses 50 to 100 tons of raw materials. In Thailand, the raw materials we use are mostly hardwood, coffee grounds, paddy straw, materials, etc. In Singapore, the raw materials we can possibly use are pre-cooked food, waste, coffee grounds, and non-toxic waste such as wood shaving, sawdust, etc. These immediate resources that we can find in Singapore can drastically reduce our dependency on raw materials from outside. And as such, the impact of mushroom production disruption can be greatly reduced. Back to the same point, too, after 2 to 3 months of harvest, mushroom world has actually created 100 tons of mushroom agriculture waste. What can we do with the mushroom waste? We can extract the roots of the mushroom to manufacture biodegradable products as an alternative solution to non-degradable materials. Application of mushroom composite materials can be used for packaging, such as food boxes, plates, straws, and many others. For agricultural and construction, which is mycelium, can be made into cladding, bricks, as well as using it for thermal and acoustic insulation purposes. And the mushroom skin is also another sustainable alternative form of leather, where it has already been made into fashion bags and home decor like lampshade and furniture, etc. To repurpose the collected biodegradable products made from mushroom back to produce food, from the 100 tons of mushroom waste, we have estimated that 1.8 million of biodegradable product can be manufactured into things we use daily. At the end of the bioproduct lifespan, the 1.8 million can be fed back to the soil as fertilizer or back to the same point to grow mushroom again for food. And this is exactly what has been done here in Singapore. We repurpose the waste to grow as food. And can you imagine this harvest here is about 100 grams. And if about 10,000 household were to harvest 100 grams, you do your max, and that is lots of kilos of mushroom every day they are going to harvest. And inevitably, we have diverted 100 tons of waste away from the incinerator. So, ladies and gentlemen, what does zero waste and circular economy means to us as a mushroom grower? To me, in simple terms, it is back to the same point. From food to waste to sustainable product and back to food production again. Thank you.
So, Mr. Leong, you have finished your presentation?
Yes, I.
Okay, I think now we have time to have questions. Already we saw some comments, I mean, from the box. I don't know whether you can open that.
Sorry.
The Q&A.
I even think that culturing mushroom is most suitable for as one means of growing. Okay. It's not much. Yes, currently there isn't any commercial. There is a countable field producing mushroom and supply locally, and definitely there's enough space to have a few more so that we have a wide-ranging source of mushroom species, and you can actually get it fresh instead of have it imported. And most importantly, I felt that we have so much waste, we can put them into good use by growing something much more exciting, like portobello. You know, portobello, they do love to live in the environment of composting. So I believe food waste expert will understand what I'm saying here. And definitely, if you to ask me, our food waste here is very much suitable to grow that such a mushroom. You know?
Thank you, Mr. Leong. Any other questions from the floor?
Maybe I can ask a question. So William, so the Singapore, so according to my experience, the mushroom growth must be under controlled environment, for example, humidity and temperature. Do you think Singapore, can we grow mushroom at home?
Yes, we can grow mushroom at home. After you come and learn from me, of course. Again, having said that, the oyster mushroom can grow any condition. So that is a very basic mushroom we're talking about, and that is nutritional as well. And if you are looking at something gourmet like Leong or lion's mane or even shiitake, personally, I felt that if you get the condition right, you can do it. But if you want to do it commercially, that is a different setting altogether. And being in a region whereby it's so near to the equator and we've got so much sunlight, we can actually do it very sustainability by tapping onto the sun energy as well as harvesting the rainwater, and they can provide a very good conducive environment for them subsequently to flourish, in the control environment. So basically, if you want a straightforward answer, yes, we can grow imported mushroom, put it that way. We can grow imported mushroom from the temperate region right in our tropic doorstep.
So, so for the inoculation of the mushroom, it should be under sterile conditions, right? Also do it at home.
Yes, there are two different settings here. If you are talking about home setting, most probably they'll find it too expensive to get those equipment. You still can do it under certain improvised situation. But if you do it for mass production, naturally it's always good to do it under the right condition, which is what you mentioned, having the right equipment, building up the right infrastructure and all this, because that is ultimately the commercialization.
We have another
question.
Yeah, one question from the chat box about the quality control.
Quality control, if you grow for yourself, there isn't much quality control, but you make sure you get the right spawn, not the poisonous one. And commercial, if you grow for food, grow as a form of food, SFA have to come in. You have to send your. It's always good to send your food source for some lab testing, just in case you have too much heavy metal or toxic inside the mushroom, that will be harmful to the body. So
is that also the reason you need a cert?
Come again?
A certificate for the cavitation with the mushroom? Is that related to the quality?
Our farm in Thailand is GAP certified.
Okay.
So everything is traceable. And in Singapore, we don't have a commercial setting, so we don't need to acquire that licensing. But under home setting, no worries. So far, I've been consuming it. I'm still around talking to them.
For the Singapore, the substrate that you mentioned is about how can food waste be used to cultivate mushroom?
Okay, for example, sugarcane. I realized that sugarcane pulp so far have better performance than some of those substrate. So what I did was I have a combination of hardwood, wood shaving, and sawdust together with sugarcane pulp that we can easily collect from the center, hawker center. And combination ratio is between 80-20, 80% sugarcane and then 20% maybe hardwood, not the kind of combination. And then and it grows mushroom and they are delicious, and they are delicious. So can you imagine how many plants we are generating just sugarcane pulp alone, the baggage,
So what's the currently practice for the sugarcane waste? Just throw away for landfill or incineration?
I think most probably they will bring it to the incineration and then fill it up on the landfill, or maybe some landscaper or some agriculture people they will collect it to produce fertilizer. That's my guess.
But for the wood waste, the sawdust, it's also there might be a safety concern too, because you don't know what's the wood source.
Yes. Okay, talk about the food waste. The food waste will preferably be the pre-cooked one and the raw one without the sodium. So not those cooked food waste I'm referring to. I'm talking about pre-cooked. So those will be the very ideal source. After they had become compost, you ratio it properly together with some. It's about carbon and nitrogen ratio we're talking about here. So you need to have a balance of a carbon source, which is the hardwood or the sugarcane, and then the nitrogen you can add on the compost, or if you do have a brand, that would be great, that sort of thing. So once you have the ratio correct, the oyster mushroom will flourish from there. Okay. So you are right, Anli. Sometimes we do not know where the source comes from. They may have some chemical and in the substrate, but that is our responsibility to find out. So yeah.
Yeah, those from furniture, from the
one we won't take. The one we will not try to have it, because usually they will have other additive inside as well.
Yeah.
Sawmill will be a good source. Coffee ground, we have a lot of coffee ground, tons of it.
A coffee ground is okay, right? Can grow.
I can't say exactly whether is it okay, but okay, if you talk about the advocacy, I would say coffee ground is not okay. But you talk about just the normal growing, then coffee ground is fine. Because I do use coffee ground in where I come from, in Thailand. So I observed and I took information that they are not the preferred choice of substrate for the type of mushroom that we want to grow. So
it must be mixed with wood, right?
Yes, you balance the ratio, the C and N ratio, and then you get it.
So basically, the food waste to grow mushroom is limiting to sugarcane bagasse.
Not exactly. Pre-cooked, as I say, people will throw away vegetables. You can use those to make into the final product. Have to be in compost form, the biomass compost form. So then only then you mix with some carbon stuff, and then you will be able to produce a substrate.
But the vegetables are very wet.
I mean, when you got to make sure you got to reduce the moisture level. You got to reduce the moisture level.
Okay.
I think we have another similar question: how to grow mushroom from food waste at home?
Come for the class. I will teach you how to.
Come to the class. Yeah, I have another question because Singapore, we always face these problems of the land, I mean, the space or the resources or even the manpower. So, I mean, is that an issue? I mean, if you want to expand your business in Singapore, how you foresee this?
Okay. Very good, valid question. If I'm going to run a commercial mushroom farm in Singapore, I will not be able to copy and paste what I do in Thailand over here. As what the moderator has mentioned here, land is limited, labor intensive. So somehow mushroom can be grown vertically. That's how it's being practiced normally. And labor-wise, you need to introduce a spectrum of automation, a widespread of system technology to assist you in terms of harvesting, in terms of production, in terms of maintenance of the farm. So currently, what appears in the market right now, certain equipment is already people are already using it. You can acquire quite easily. But the other part of the segment of harvesting them, I have not seen any technology yet where they use a form of robotic system to replace human hand for harvest during the harvesting period, which can be quite labor intensive. So that is a challenge. But I think the challenge can be overcome because right now, mushroom oil is in fact, we have already solidified our understanding to work with an institution on this matter, as well as a little bit of AI to identify disease. You know, when you talk about anything organism, there are always diseases. So we need to identify before, we got to preempt before the diseases before it become a widespread issue. And that can contaminate the whole growing environment. And that can be a total loss. So that is something that we also find is a challenge.
Okay, thank you.
It's not possible to get it. So it's just a matter of developing it.
Yeah. Also, just now in your presentation, you mentioned the possibility to recycle, reuse the mushroom waste to continue to use them for the mushroom growing. So, but definitely you need to top up the minerals, nutrients, etc. I mean, how are you going to do with that? Control, analysis?
You must be a mushroom grower yourself.
I'm mushroom lover.
Okay, good. Yes, when you repurpose the sawdust to reproduce food again, you need to add supplements, right? And the supplement is again all been formulated So once you have the formulation, you just number of tons, how much you need to add, and then you repeat the whole process again. So you definitely have to do that, right?
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, thank you very much, Mr. Leong, for your
Thanks.
mushroom sharing.
I guess there are some questions in chat.
I think we have answered most of the questions, like the growing
okay.
mushroom at
Yeah.
home, etc. Right?
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I
Because
think
I
answered
actually
already.
asked that similar question already.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your time.
Thank you.